Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Dragon's Den returned to our screens earlier this month, with two new dragons joining Gavin Duffy, Barry O'Sullivan and Eamon Quinn for the investment pitches. And one of these new dragons, Eleanor McEvoy, joins me on the phone now to discuss expansion plans for her own business and what enticed her to the Den. Eleanor, you have taken one of the hot seats in the Dragon's Den, but remind us about your own business credentials.
Well, Karl, I would have built and sold two businesses in Southern Ireland. The last one in 2006, which was Phone Card Warehouse. And I then took a little bit of time out and I decided to look at electricity. And I applied for a licence in the Northern Ireland market in 2010. Started taking customers in 2011 and we now have 65,000 customers and growing.
What attracted you into the electricity market? Because it's well known that it's a very small margin business.
It is a small margin business, but the previous business I was in, Phone Card Warehouse, we distributed top-up codes for mobile phones. We were in at the beginning of the mobile phone industry, which was an even tighter margin, believe me. So I'm actually very good at running small margin businesses. And the prepayment element of it attracted it to me. Northern Ireland has the biggest prepaid market in Europe because there was a legacy in this market that you couldn't disconnect a domestic customer. So if somebody wasn't paying you, they put in a prepaid meter and then they took the debt off that way. But as a result of that, there were over 300,000 keypads in Northern Ireland.
But is it not a recession product?
No, not absolutely. It's a choice product. And by the way, as a company, we supply the prepaid customer, we supply the bill pay customer, we supply small business, we buy green energy. So we're in the whole of the market. That was just the piece of the market that we started at. The service.
So have you any plans to bring budget to the Republic of Ireland?
Absolutely, I do. We should be in the market either by the end of the year or early in 2017, and we will come in as B Energy, so it'll be B Energy.
I think that some of the existing players in the market are preempting Budget Energy's expansion into the Republic, with one company having recently purchased the budgetenergy.ie domain name. How do you view such tactics?
I call it sharp practice, but I just move on from it. So if we come in with a different name, it's worthless to them. And I actually quite like the energy. We have a character called Sparky, and Sparky wears a T-shirt, and on his T-shirt is B and BE for Budget Energy. And I looked at it and I said, you know what? Sparky will go into the south as B Energy. And there's another advantage to it too. If you have two websites running, one north and south, if they're the same name, there's the danger of you people going on to the wrong one. So all in all, it's for the usual reasons. If people do things for the wrong reasons, it comes out for the right reasons. So I think B Energy is a better way to go. And
comparing the north to the south in terms of the energy market itself, which is more competitive?
That's hard to say. The southern market is 3 times the size of the northern market. So the northern market's much smaller. So I suppose it's about even, really. There'd be slightly more players in the southern market, but as I say, there's more customers. So I think it actually pans out to be the same thing.
Now, Eleanor, the reason I asked you to join me on the programme this morning was to discuss your role on the current series of Dragon's Den. How did the opportunity come about?
Well, I was asked by the producer, Larry Bass, a couple of years ago, would I consider it? I was actually speaking at an event called Cork Bic, and Larry Bass was there as well. And at the time, I didn't take any notice of it. And I was in Germany last year, and Bobby Kerr was there on the trip with us. It's the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year trip. And Bobby asked me to do it, and I said no. And then Larry Bass came back to me and he asked to meet me for a coffee, introduced me to his producer. And to be honest, I trusted him. And once I felt the trust there, I said, okay, you know what, I'll do this. And there were 2 reasons for it. The first one being I'm coming into the southern market and I thought it'd be good for people to get to know me. But the second reason being I do feel a level of responsibility as a female to be a role model for other young people coming up, because I certainly know when I was growing up in Ireland there weren't really any strong female business role models, and I'm a big believer in that. While I've worked very hard, I've been lucky too, so it's good to give back.
Prior to the commencement of filming, what were your expectations in terms of the sectors that you might consider investing in?
Well, as somebody who has been in 2 or 3 totally different businesses. I see business as business, and I don't actually have sectors I prefer and sectors I don't go into. But I kind of had a thing that I wasn't particularly into the idea of food. I didn't want to get involved in the food business. But other than that, I didn't rule anything out.
And how do you differentiate yourself from your other 4 fellow dragons?
Well, first of all, I have to say I really enjoyed my fellow dragons. They're really good people. They were good people to be around all day, because one of the things that people don't realise, we shot this series in 11 days. We had one day off in the middle. I was in hair and makeup at 7:30 every morning, and often not back at the hotel till 7:30 that night. So it was long, long days that we spent. So we were together all the time. We saw 52 pitches in that time, and the average pitch, despite what you see on TV, can be anything up to an hour and 40 minutes. So it's a very intense process. But it's always good when you're around good people, and all of them were good people. So I didn't really, for first time on Dragon's Den, it took 2 or 3 days to settle into the process, because it's a completely new experience to me. But I did enjoy it.
And Eleanor, from a learning perspective, what did you learn from your Dragon's Den experience?
Well, it was interesting for me because I've never invested in anybody except myself. So it's a new experience for me to actually look at somebody and consider using my money to put into them. But I do know from experience that the difference between success and failure is who's driving the business. So who was promoting the business was number 1 for me, and what the product or service was number 2. And my decisions were made on that, so let's hope I made the right one.
Were you nervous investing your own money?
No, because I had decided before I went in, I had an idea of how much money I'd be willing to invest. So once I commit to something like that, then I'm fine.
Now, in the first episode of the new series, we saw you invest in a Wexford-based business, Hollis Skincare. We heard you say that it was more about the promoter of the business, Niamh Hogan, that really attracted you to the business itself. Is that something that we're going to see far more of during the series?
Yes, you'll always see me invest in the promoters first. And I also think, as well as that, I'm, like any women, I'm a sucker for good cosmetic products. And of course, we had the benefit that the TV viewers don't see, that, Niamh gave us the products to try. I loved the feel of them. I loved the scent of them. And women are now learning that it's not always about the fancy box, it's about the quality of the ingredients. And I think the holistic space is actually right on time. And this is the time to push a brand like that. So I'm quite excited about the prospect. And I know Niamh is very, very hungry and very, very driven. And her and I actually, we've had many conversations since, and we get on really well and understand each other. So I think it'll be a great partnership.
And Eleanor, where do you feel you can add most value?
I think because I have vision. And that's always been something that I have. I can see where this product is going to go. And as you might have heard me say, if you can't dream it, you can't achieve it. And that in simple terms means you have to have a plan. So really it's about how many units are we going to move and what are our routes to market. And really, for me, that is the part that I see very clearly. And then it's just a case of implementing it. And
is that a problem here in Ireland, in your opinion, Eleanor, that business people, they think too small?
Yeah, and it's particularly with women. And I don't mean that in a critical way. I suppose it's the fear of failure. And also there can be an element of that people get cozy. People build businesses to a certain size and they have what I call a lifestyle business that, it gives them their couple of holidays a year and it pays for whatever they believe in. Whereas I essentially, I suppose, compete with myself all the time. So whatever business I've built last, the next one has to be bigger. And that's just me competing with me. And so I'm kind of driven, but I enjoy the journey. I enjoy the process. But I said this recently, if you make change your new normal, you'll never be afraid of it again. And that's a very important thing for people to embrace in business.
So since the cameras have stopped rolling, how has your investment in Hollis Skincare progressed?
Well, we're still very early days. We're still going through getting to know each other, getting to know the business, see what way we're going to spend the money. That will be ironed out over the next 6 weeks or so, but we're in the process.
I've often thought about the Dragon's Den pitches and wondered if there's a secret formula for securing the investment. From your perspective, what were the metrics that ignited your interest or caused you to utter the infamous words, "I'm out"?
Well, It would be based on a number of factors. There were some great people that came into the den, Michelle being one of them, with her funky crayons. I think Michelle is such a talented woman, and I definitely think she has what it takes to succeed, but I wasn't quite convinced around the product. And this is one of the things that people need to realise. Just because a particular product or service that you're pushing doesn't succeed, that doesn't mean your business life is over. What you need to do is get your feet wet, try it, and if you don't believe there's long-term growth in it, well, then just move on to the next thing.
So in other words, fail fast.
Absolutely. And if you do that, you don't actually have major failures, because major failures to me is when it hurts you so badly financially, it's difficult to recover. It's dip your toe in the water and take it up as far as your ankles, and then if it's not working, step back out.
So Eleanor, looking ahead to the rest of the series, what can we expect from Eleanor McEvoy?
A lot of surprises. And remember, I'll be watching this show along with everybody else, because we will not see any one of these shows in advance. But I think we've made a good series. I know everybody, every dragon in that den was dedicated. The Shinawell production team are amazing. And, you know, the whole emphasis was on getting this right and making good quality entertainment TV. And also with an eye to, let's be part of promoting entrepreneurship in Ireland and get people to embrace their entrepreneurial behaviour.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.